Hello puzzle people, welcome if it's your first time here, welcome back if you've been here before. This is part 6 and the final part of my 2025 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship recap series. In this video I'll be talking about the final 2 days of the 2025 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships, which includes the last teams qualifier as well as the finals for all 3 events, the pairs, individuals, and teams. And with the exception of one minor organizational issue, these 2 days ran pretty smoothly, so everything's coming together just in time for the competition to end. The Saturday started off with the last teams qualifier. It started at 11 a.m. for some unknown reason. All the other days with morning events started at 9. If it had started at 9, there would have been a longer break in between the teams qualifier and the first finals, which was the pairs finals. Instead, starting at 11 meant that the team's qualifier would end around 2 p.m., leaving just about 2 hours before the pairs finals started. So not quite sure what the decision was there, but that's kind of what we were dealing with. The first big surprise of the day, though, and a positive one, was that they replaced the screen that had fallen over the day before. This was the best move of the week from the WJPF, with all the final events taking place on the Saturday and the Sunday. Providing an option for people to watch the events outside of the dome was crucial. It would also keep the temperature down inside the dome for the participants in those. So having that fixed within a day is quite impressive, actually, and surprising. So good for them for that. Now, the screen was a fair bit smaller. My guess is that they used the panels that survived the crash. But it could also be that this was all they could get on short notice. It was still a big enough screen, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But either way, having the screen again was fantastic. The puzzles for the last team's qualifier included Garden Allotment, which was chosen by every team except for 6, so it was by far the most popular. Gelini Underwater was the next most common choice. I had a feeling going into Worlds that a Gelini puzzle would show up this year, and I was right. Another Disney puzzle made an appearance. This one was Disney and Pixar Toy Store, which it's a fun image, but very busy. So it was a more challenging one than if you had picked the Gelini puzzle instead. But with all the Disney puzzles in the teams qualifiers this year and the appearance of Stitch in one of the pairs qualifiers, does this mean that we see Disney puzzles in the individual qualifiers next year? If so, and if they kind of keep on this trend of potentially picking puzzles that help break speed records, maybe practice the Disney and Pixar color palette, because that will definitely set some records if that shows up at next year's Worlds. The fourth puzzle, and the least selected overall, was yet another Christmas puzzle called Rockefeller Center Joy. I can see why some teams might have picked it, but it was the darkest of all 4 puzzles. And when it comes to the teams events specifically, the main rule really that a team should follow is don't pick the darkest puzzle. Regardless of the time of day, they just seem to be overall slower. So brighter options is usually the way to go. But most teams didn't pick it, so it's kind of irrelevant. The winning team was the Czech Puzzle Queens with a time of 1:01:02, which meant the 2 records set the previous day by the Aussie All-Stars have been broken yet again for the fastest time to complete 2 previously released puzzles and the fastest to complete 1 previously released puzzle. That's the second time on the weekend or during the week that these records have been broken. So teams are getting faster. We can probably expect next year, if there is, depending on who shows up next year, those records to potentially be broken yet again. I'll predict that there will be at least 1 qualifying team that is sub 1 hour for two puzzles. They're not far off already. They're just, 50, 60, 63 seconds away from cracking that 1 hour mark. So highly possible we see it next year. Second place went to the Whimsy Pieces from the US with a time of 107.40. And in third place were the Speed Swedes from Sweden, obviously, with a time of 108.37. So with that round coming to an end, all the qualifiers and all the semifinals for the week are done, and we can focus purely on the final events. The first finals is in the pairs category. In my last video, I did talk about how the image for the pairs round was leaked in advance the day before, which definitely took some excitement out of the round. As I mentioned, seeing the unreleased puzzles right when the rounds start is part of the excitement. It's part of the enjoyment of it, and seeing these unreleased puzzles it's a special moment. I also mentioned in the previous video that some teams were strategizing and using different techniques to try to get some sort of advantage or edge going into the finals. I went back and listened to the live stream as well as spoke to a few puzzlers since I posted that video, and some of the top pairs did kind of go to some extremes to get an advantage and prepare and strategize for the finals. I understand the reasoning to do this because you have to assume everyone is doing it, and if you want to compete and win, you have to also give yourself an advantage here as well. There is no blame to place on any of the competitors. 100% of the blame will fall on Ravensburger. Having Ravensburger release that image in advance, by accident or not, it negatively impacts the credibility of the overall event, and hopefully that there's systems put in place so it doesn't happen again. Now, finger pointing is going to take place, and it kind of already has to some degree where the blame was trying to be put on the retailer that posted the image too early. Yeah, sure, there's some blame there, but at the same time, why did they have the image in advance anyways? There's no need for it to be sent out. It could be sent out as soon as the round started. Once we see it, great, send them all out. It's not overly difficult. The puzzles go on sale essentially straight away, which is why they'll argue that images have to go out in advance. Uploading an image is one of the easiest steps of launching a product. There's no issue there. So again, 100% of the blame, Ravensburger. The puzzle for the pairs final was 1,000 pieces, as is customary for the pairs final at Worlds, as well as the Canadians national final. I think those are the only two national or international competitions that have 1,000-piece puzzle. In the pairs final, the US used to. They didn't this year at least. But having 1,000 pieces adds a unique aspect to the round. So many participants practice 1,000 puzzles as teams. They'll practice 500s individually and usually 500 with pairs. The teams that will likely do better in this round are ones that prepared by doing 1,000-piece puzzles in advance. It's not an easy transition to go from 500 pieces to 1,000 pieces. I know it's double the pieces, so twice as hard. It is much more challenging than that. The puzzle's name was Speed Puzzling, so super creative name. The puzzle was a fun image, and it also keeps with what I hope continues to be a theme in the finals rounds, at least for pairs. Last year's final puzzle was based on the city of Valladolid, and there's people puzzling in the image. This year, it's a picture of the dome where the events take place, again with people puzzling in the image. So having this puzzle theme and a puzzle that's specifically created for this event is it makes it more special. So I hope they continue this theme at least in future pairs finals, but I hope it also kind of appears in potentially the individual finals or the teams finals. The puzzle itself is trickier than it looks. The dome part is not simple, but it's the small puzzles on the tables that seem to provide the most difficulty for many tables. That was, looking at the videos and the live streams back, a lot of pairs left those little puzzles to the end. And speaking with a number of pairs who strategized the image. A lot of them thought that would be the easiest bit, but no, that was what was left to the end. So your ability to fill those pieces in as you approached the last few pieces was going to determine what final position you were going to get. The winning pair was Veronica and Anna from Poland with a time of 54:45, which is an absolutely incredible time for this puzzle. Their reaction to winning always makes me laugh because they're just so calm about it, like they do this every day. But yeah, a huge congratulations to them. In second place with a time of 55:22, just 37 seconds after the winner, so close finish, was Kati from Germany and Chiara from Italy, but really both from Germany. Another calm celebration. Well done to both of them. And in third, with a time of 57:42, Ellen and Inge from the Netherlands, who had a much bigger reaction when they finished, which is fair as well. It's fun to watch how each individual or pair or team celebrate finishing their puzzles. When I do watch the live streams back, I do focus more on the celebration aspect because how people celebrate is just so unique to them, to their personalities. Their level of exhaustion can play a factor. How much time is left in before the time runs out is always interesting. There's so many factors that go into how you might react, where you can plan for it, but until you're in that moment, you don't really know what you're going to do in that split second when you finish and the camera is focused directly on you. But every reaction is a good reaction, except for one: don't hit the table. But now that we are in the finals, these are the highlight moments of the week. Everything's built up to these events. I'm super grateful for the live streams that allow us to go back and watch this. I'm participating in the pairs final, so I don't get to see any of this live. So it is nice having those live streams to go back and watch yourself, watch the winners, watch friends. It's really nice having those. They also allow friends and family from all over the world to be able to be a part of it as well. At the time of filming this video, for the second time, because there was an error with the first one, the pairs live stream had over 15,000 views between the English and the Spanish versions combined. And that number is fairly consistent across all the rounds, whether they're qualifier, semifinals, or finals, which means that there is a dedicated group of people that are going to go and watch these videos. So one of the positive takeaways from how the event's organized is the effort that goes into making sure there's live streams that people can watch. So thank you to the WJPF. I know it's rare, but thank you to them for having those live stream options. But overall, a big congratulations to anyone that competed in the pairs final. Every single pair finished within the time allowed, which is great to see. It's really nice when everyone finishes. I know it's 2 hours for 1,000 pieces, so you would expect it, but you never know. And everyone was considerably under the 2-hour time. So well done to everybody. There's just one event left in the day, and in my opinion, it is the biggest and most important event of the week, and that is the individual final. I've always thought this should be the last event, but for some reason, the team's final is always the last one. Crowning the fastest person in the world feels like it should be the very last thing before the closing ceremonies, but it is what it is. That being said, having the individual finals start later in the evening, so it's a 6:30 start for this. It was such a nice atmosphere because the sun's kind of going down. It's not hot outside anymore. They have the Jumbotron outside with the grassy hill and benches that hundreds of people were sitting there watching it. There's still people inside the dome as well, cheering on friends and family. So it was a great atmosphere. So I can understand why they have the individual final at this time. It does make a lot of sense. But you know what? Yeah, I'm fine with when they had it. Yeah. Now there was a slight miscommunication error that took place just before the finals. The individual final was set to start. There was a last minute scramble to inform some people that they were actually participating in the final, even though they didn't know that they were going to be in the final. And this was specific due to the new subcategories that they had, the ones based on age. And when it came to the age bracket of 60 years and above, I don't believe that anyone qualified directly for the finals. Some made it to the semifinals, but didn't make it out of the semifinals, or they didn't have enough people to go into the finals. But regardless, some of them, there was a few people that in the 60 plus age group that were told really just before the event started, hey, you're going to be in this round to compete to see who's the fastest within that age group. So there was quite the scramble as people were looking for box top holders, potentially fans, things to hold cameras, because everyone just showed up to watch the finals. They weren't expecting to be in the finals. So not a great way to kind of end off the week. However, when looking at the WJPF websites and the results page, any indication of these subcategories is gone. So there's no way to know who was first or second or third in these different age brackets. So I guess I figured they had to do this because they had the trophies ready for the closing ceremonies and realized last minute going, oh, we don't know who to give these to if there's nobody in the finals. And you can't really compare times across 3 different semifinals. So I'm assuming that's why they did it, and they just didn't have a plan in place in the event people from that age group didn't make it to the end. So I can't imagine they'll make that mistake when they try this for the first time next year. Anyways, as the puzzle is about to be revealed, and shockingly no leaks this time, I think the spectator atmosphere was perfect. There was anticipation, excitement kind of just in the air as everyone was outside waiting, watching on this big screen to see what that final puzzle was going to be. I was not in the individual finals as I just missed out on the cut, which is still disappointing, but I am looking back at my Worlds kind of experience overall. I am also glad to have been part of the spectating for this event and kind of just be able to sit and relax and watch. There's nothing on the line for me here. There's no round that's going to come after this. This is just being able to sit and watch the top 180 people in the world race to see who's the fastest. The puzzle is revealed, and it is called Puzzle Community, and it's another meta puzzle themed, which I'm thrilled about. Again, I hope this trend continues in future years, as these puzzle images they're clearly specifically designed for a puzzle competition. We all do things like landscapes and photographs and generic illustrations of animals and flowers and other common theme puzzles all the time. So having images like this that are clearly puzzle themed and specific for this event makes it seem more personal. And again, I really hope they continue with this concept. So if Ravensburger did one thing correctly this week, it was choosing those 2 puzzles for the pairs and individual rounds. Watching people puzzling is, for a large portion of the population, is not the most exciting thing. Even for me, sometimes I'll get a little bit bored during like that time in the live streams where you're about 5 to 10 minutes in, up until around 30 minutes in or so, depending on the round, where not much is happening, and we're just we want to see who's going to be the first to finish. But for some reason, the finals, the entire time, was intense and really good watching all the way through. There were so many big names in the finals, and you don't know who's going to have their moment. And with last year's winner not in attendance this time, there was going to be a new champion. It could still be a repeat champion. For instance, Alejandro was in the finals again. So potentially this could be the third time that he wins. But there's so many big names in here. My guess is we're going to see a new name be announced as the fastest puzzler in the world. I'm going to play a clip from the WJPF live stream that shows the last couple minutes of the individual final. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it already or you were there in person. But the call is from Jim. Again, an incredible co-host on those live streams and really made them worthwhile to watch. But the call is incredible, and he describes exactly what we're all feeling watching this outside of the dome. So here we go.
People are getting so excited. You can hear people getting ready to start that cheer. This is coming down to the wire.
Victor is Veronica.
Oh man, I don't know. We're getting ready to cross the 39-minute line. I think Victor only has about 12 pieces running. Veronica doing a little bit of a shape sort, but I think Victor's going to be able to grab the rest of these. He is pulling into the lead. He doesn't even have to do the sort. Anything he picks up is going in. He's down to the last 5 pieces. He's going to get 4, 3. He's down to the last 3 here. Can he get them in? 2. Oh, get that last one in and claim victory. Is he going to hit it before the 40-minute line? There's a few more pieces sitting on top of the puzzle. There's a few more sitting on top of the puzzle. Oh, there's a few more. This is going to be crazy. There's so much stack. I think there's a hole in that right-hand side. They're so close. This is neck and neck. Who is going to come out first in the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships 2025? Silo Division, cutting it under the line. Is it going to be a dead time? There's a missing piece. There's a missing piece on the left-hand side. She gets it in. Veronica! 1, 2, 3, 4. Down to the wire.
Wow, Veronica, wow.
Veronica gets first, but now the hunt is on for the rest of the podium. Who is going to come in the top 10? We have Victor and Kati neck and neck right now. They're so close. I think I couldn't see how many pieces Victor had left on the board, but Kati has a whole bunch underneath. Is Kati going to be able to catch up? I think Victor has a little bit of an edge. Who's going to be able to take second place coming into the finals here? There it is. Victor gets it just ahead.
It's a Poland 1-2.
And Kati, only a few pieces behind. Congratulations.
This is so exciting, Logan.
Yeah, amazing.
Logan cannot talk.
Unbelievable scenes here.
They were so close.
But look how friendly they're all friends.
Oh, now to Veronica. Oh, this is so cute.
That's exactly what we like to see.
Like
In part 4, I said that what makes this competition what it is the people. It isn't the sponsors. It isn't the organization that puts the event on. It's the competitors and it's the volunteers and the people that are behind the scenes. In that clip, the call from Jim is perfect. The cheers from the crowd in the dome, perfect. You can't hear them on the live stream, but the cheers and the people outside making their noise, perfect. But on top of all that perfection, it comes down to the competitors and the volunteers. Victor's almost immediate reaction to jump up and run over to Kati and vice versa, and then go to Veronica and congratulate her. It's a very touching moment to watch. You can see the chaos of the camera operators running to catch up with those 3 podium finishers, while also keeping track of the people doing the puzzles in the dome. They were fantastic all week long. And if you're going to be super picky about things, you can argue maybe they didn't get to some tables fast enough or what. There's so much going on that I have nothing to criticize when it comes to the camera operators. They did an incredible job in very tough conditions over the course of those 7 days. And I don't know who this is, but their reaction shows just how much the volunteers and the judges were also invested in this competition, and this reaction, absolutely love it. So while I said it before, and I will likely say it again at some point, thank you to everyone that was involved in this competition, whether you were a volunteer, you were a host on the live streams, you were a camera operator, or you were a competitor. Great job to everybody. Watching this final outside was incredibly intense because even on the big screen, we couldn't tell that Victor had pieces on top of his puzzle. And that was a surprise to all of us, just like you can hear in the live stream clip. It was a surprise to them as well. So once we did see that, oh, he has more pieces than we thought, all eyes turned to Veronica and getting in those last few pieces, which seemed to take an eternity. I can't imagine how long it felt for her. And then to suddenly realize that there's a piece missing and she goes to look for it instead of taking the 5-second penalty. It's you can't plan for moments like that. And I'm also really happy that Veronica chose to look for the piece, because how anticlimactic would it be if it all comes down to there's a piece missing in the finals at the individual in the individual event. I mean, it would kind of sum up how the week went as in general, but this was the perfect way to end it. It was intense from start to finish, and those last few moments, perfect cinema. But yes, a huge congratulations to Veronica from Poland for finishing first and taking the title of the world's fastest puzzler. In second place was Victor, also from Poland. We all know that he prepared a lot over the course of the year for Worlds, and so much effort went into getting ready for Worlds. If there's someone that deserved to win, Victor would be right up there, along with everyone else that was close to the top of the podium, including the winner, Veronica. I think we all knew it was likely going to come down to one of the Polish powerhouses to take it all, but it's just on that day, in that moment, who was going to have the slight edge. And you can't fault either of them in this case. So again, congratulations to Veronica and to Victor. And finally, Kati from Germany in third place. They're another individual who a lot of people picked her to win it all, and the top 3 finishers were separated by just 41 seconds, and then I think there was like a 2-minute gap for fourth place. So these 3 on any given day, if they return for the 2026 World Championships, I would expect to see the 3 of them at the top of the podium again, trying to fight out to see who is the fastest next year. So congratulations to everyone in the individuals round, but I do want to mention 2 Canadians as well. First is the top Canadian finisher, Megan Sloka, who was probably the Canadian who is the happiest with her celebrations throughout the week. Megan was my pick going into Worlds to be the top Canadian finisher, with Katie being a close second, which is exactly what happened. They were separated by, I think, just 3 spots. But I just want to focus on Megan. Absolutely incredible finish, but here's her reaction to finishing the individual final.
Funny because what I said to myself was like, what would Veronica do?
Well, Victor, I'm really excited to have you here. Well, I want to say congratulations. Is there anything you want to tell to the puzzle community before you head out?
Yes, I want to say to everyone that if you train hard enough, if you do well enough.
She's just so positive, and I love seeing those types of reactions as well. I also want to mention Vicky from Canada, who was one of the people placed in the finals at the last minute as part of the 60 and above age group. She finished the puzzle, which was great, but also meant that she finished first in her age bracket, meaning for the first time ever, a Canadian will be on the stage during the closing ceremonies. So a massive congratulations to Vicky, and here is her finishing the puzzle as well.
I am super happy for you. You look radiant. Happiness. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
One thing I also noticed was the reaction of the puzzlers, not when they finished the event, but left to go outside. Not the immediate reaction, but the delayed reaction. Many had just done the pairs final as well, and just a couple hours before, and pushed through that to then have to do the individual final. It's draining physically and mentally. It's also been a very long week as well. Sitting in a literal pressure cooker situation. It was tough, and you could see kind of once the individual final is done, just a weight is lifted from a lot of people. There were happy tears, there were relieved tears. I think there was just some tears of exhaustion, and just that overwhelming sense of emotion just hitting people that they've just competed in on the biggest stage in the world, and now it's done. And it was interesting to watch how different people reacted a few minutes or a bit longer after the individual final had come to an end. So that was the end of the first day of the finals, and we just had one more day to go with one more event, and that was the teams final the next day. The teams final took place on Sunday, September 21st, and when we arrived to the dome, there was quite a few paramedics, EMTs standing outside. Not for us, though. There was another event taking place. It was a family or child's bike race, and good on them for having medical staff highly visible in the vicinity of where they needed. So that is something that we probably could have had earlier in the week. Yeah, so it's something that's possible. But in the finals for the teams, there was 107 total teams, 2 more than expected. I thought perhaps maybe a couple of extras were added due to issues during the Thunderdome round the couple days beforehand. That doesn't appear to be the case, and the playoff rule was just confusing throughout the week. They're probably going to change it again next year. So we'll see how that goes. The 2 puzzles for the final were, I'm going to get the name wrong or say it wrong, Aurora over Kirkjufell, which is in Iceland, and I definitely said that name wrong. A typical landscape photo, and then Ladybug Lane, a very busy illustration. Neither of these are my preferred style, especially when it comes to teams. But they're teams puzzles. We'll get through them. That's not the issue. But there were 2 things that stood out to me as a bit disappointing when it came to the puzzle choices in this round, specifically the Aurora puzzle. First, between both of them, the meta puzzle theme that we saw in the individuals and the pairs final doesn't seem to apply to the teams. So having just two puzzle images that could appear at any puzzle event, this is the last event of the week, of the whole competition, of the event, whatever you want to call it, and finishing on just kind of 2 generic pictures seems like a bit of a letdown. The second disappointment, again, specifically with the Aurora puzzle, is unlike all the semi-final puzzles and all the finals puzzles, this was the only finals puzzle that doesn't have the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship logo at the bottom on the box. So you can see the logo shows up on any puzzle that was unreleased for the semifinals and for the finals. In all the other rounds, the Aurora one doesn't. It just has the name of the series that it's a part of. Does this mean Ravensburger is kind of using it as a way to launch a new series? Did they not have another unique option? I don't know why this was chosen. However, the Aurora image just seems to be a random picture that was chosen. Here is that image appearing on a BBC article from February 2025. here is the same image on an Instagram post from @RoamThePlanet from May of 2025. There's other places online with this image as well. Using imagery like this is fine for puzzles. It's a great shot by the photographer, and it does make for a really nice puzzle. But the finals, like we saw for pairs and individuals, should be more special and personal to the competition, especially as it is the final day and the final event. The winning team with a time of 1:16.04, to no one's surprise, is the Euro Jigsaw Jacks squad, so congratulations to them. In second place from the Czech Republic were the Czech Puzzle Queens with a time of 1:17.40, and rounding out the top three in third place with a time of 1:20, the O's and A's from the Netherlands. A special mention as well to fourth place team, which was the Aussie All-Stars, and that was, as I mentioned before, my pick to win the team's event. So top four is great. Top three, if you don't include the mixed teams, but well done to every team that participated. And that is a wrap for all the puzzle events at the 2025 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship. The closing ceremonies took place later in the day. I watched from outside on the Jumbotron. So my last day in Spain, I want to enjoy that Spanish sun just a little bit more before heading back to Canada. And yeah, it was just nice to sit outside and watch the closing ceremonies. Now, to be honest, I wasn't really that invested in the closing ceremonies. I was watching, but also talking with people, because again, it's the last time you're going to see a lot of people before we all go back to our various countries, homes, whatever it might be. So, but what did stand out to me the most was the country pride that people had. They had their country flags. It was a good reminder that this is a world championship event, and it was nice to see everyone represent their countries. It was also a good reminder to see that it was people from all over the world. Thousands of people descended on this smallish town in northern Spain to do something that they all enjoy. And it wasn't just at the closing ceremonies. Throughout the week, people were able to express who they were as individuals, who they were as groups, whether it was from their various countries, their various backgrounds, friendship groups. The inclusivity of the event was on full display throughout the week, and it was really fun to see that. And as quickly as everyone appeared a week earlier in the city of Valladolid, just as quickly everyone was gone. And now we all wait to see what happens in 2026. There are some questions that the WJPF as well as Ravensburger do need to answer before next year's World Championships take place. There's also plenty of other rumblings and rumors that are going on as well. So the next 11 months will be interesting. I fully still expect there to be a 2026 World Championships, likely in Valladolid again. I would really like it to be somewhere else, just so people can travel to different places, but we know that's unlikely. But if there's other things that come up in 2026, I won't be surprised either. And that brings me to the end of my 2025 World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship recap video series. Thank you to anyone who watched any of these videos, whether you sat there for the entire 6 hours or you watched 6 minutes. I appreciate every single one of you being here for however long or short it was. Now, my Worlds content is not quite complete. I do have a couple more things to cover. It was a very big week, and if this is the only time I go, I kind of want to talk about it. So make sure to stay tuned for when those videos are released soonish. I'm not rushing to get things done super quickly. I do want to get back to actual puzzling. I've taken a long enough break at this point, but yeah, there is more to come. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. Thank you for being here. Please feel free to take a look at what else is on this channel. There are Speed Puzzling 101 videos, which are short, videos that are there to help people or provide some advice to new speed puzzlers, or potentially to help out more advanced speed puzzlers with maybe some ideas and concepts that you haven't quite considered. Also on this channel, I do talk about my own puzzle story and all of the twists and turns and ups and downs that have come with that. I also have my puzzle cast on here, which is called Puzzled and Chatty, where I do sit down with other speed puzzlers and talk with them about their puzzle stories and journeys. As of right now, it is more focused towards Canadian speed puzzlers, but coming in 2026, I do intend to have a more international approach to it as well. So if you would like to be on the Puzzlecast, or you have a suggestion on who I should reach out to for the Puzzlecast, please message me on my Instagram page at @CanadamPuzzle, and we can discuss it through there. Yeah. Again, thank you all for watching these recaps. They were enjoyable to film. It was nice to kind of vent in some of them. But yeah, just thank you. Thank you for watching these and for being here. And until next time, as always, happy puzzling. Bye.